September 19th, 12:44 start time. Did everybody get through the final? I guess it's three chapters with the bonus chapter, which is actually ended up being four. But the third chapter was really just a summary of everything, and the bonus chapter was something else, how to buy the Ferrari. So, who's buying what car for free?
I haven't chose the car, but I love the plane.
I want a car.
Which one, David?
Electric car. I haven't decided though.
Well, you're doing both things, huh? You're going for the standard deductions and then making the government pay for your car as well as you're trying to take advantage of the EV credits and everything else. So you're doing 2 in 1.
Yep.
Very nice. You're playing smart. So I kind of I got a little bit lost in the qualified and non-qualified investment world, if you will. I wish you gave me a little bit more information when I was kind of reading through it. I thought it was kind of important because actually it kind of comes across my table a lot in regards to when I am setting up equity plans for companies. A lot of times I'm kind of going through, are they qualified or unqualified stock options that we are giving to these key benefits. In the past, I've always heard, qualified, that's the way to go. That's what we need to have. But I think that is definitely the traditional thinking of defer taxes. Well, again, after reading the book, we don't want to defer, we don't want to pay, period. So qualified, I guess, has a lot of rules, a lot of whatnot. But I like the unqualifieds now even, and I like them more than the qualified. But I got a little bit lost. Anybody kind of make heads and tails of the differences between them and how they really work? Did anybody kind of catch that? Just curious.
I don't remember him talking about it in the book.
Oh, maybe it's only in the virtual book, the ebook.
Maybe.
Did you listen or read?
I listened.
You listened. Okay.
Yeah.
There's retirement. We're talking about the retirement plan chapter.
So yeah, no. I'm talking about like the specific differences between like non-qualified and qualified. I don't know if he got into the nitty-gritty of those. But I know like for non-qualified, it's a fantastic plan, especially for high income earners, because with qualified plans, because it's, to his point, it's so regulated by the government. The government basically they want to control the whole part of it. With non-qualified plans, you don't really have those same limits, like the contribution limit. So a lot of the times that's the first benefit to most people, because by the time you've given your 5,500 or 6,500 or whatever for the year, it's like, well, damn, if I've got more money to put into it, like I can't benefit from, a tax deferred account. It's like, well, you can. You just use a non-qualified account, and they're completely different. But I don't know. I don't remember him going into like the specific like key details.
Gotcha.
So.
And nothing in your accounting background to help me. Otherwise, is that a separate conversation I got to pay for?
Maybe the latter.
Okay,
so basically the benefits are just, you're not going to have those same like caps. And then he kind of talked about a lot of the benefits in there as well. So like, for instance, there's not so much control on how you can use it, because you're not having to do the same, you're not having to do the same rules that the government's going to place on them. Like you can't take the money out. You can't, put so much in, because they don't have their hands in it.
I think that'll be a conversation that you and I need to kind of have offline outside of the book club without getting too much in the weeds in that one particular product. But I did kind of raise some important things that I need to address as I'm advising my business clients and setting up those equity plans. Definitely seemed like a nice little piece. Anybody get anything? I guess insurance and retirement accounts were the two bigger ones that we talked about in this one. The insurance, what I gathered was it's interesting because it's a part of one of the 7 possible ways to invest. but I didn't. What did anybody actually catch what the benefits are with the type of things other than you can't write them off for your insurance, your life insurance policy premiums you can't write off is what I gathered from traditional stuff, definitely for term. But and did anybody have any insight as far as I don't know what the advantages of and what the investment benefits and tax benefits for life insurance is?
I
Um,
got confused here just because you always hear insurance is like the last piece to the puzzle. And I felt like your financial, get everything else in place. And then that's or whole term life insurance. Like there's like part of that's kind of like the end. And he was talking about a whole bunch of different other ones as well. And so I just am a little confused as to like what do we do now? Which one do we do last? And how do we make it all set in place? And it's just, to me, I don't know that I think it's more of a peace of mind than a tax break is what I felt like in the chapter.
um, so this one's interesting because I feel like I've had mixed feelings about insurance for years, especially life insurance specifically. I've always really kind of leaned more towards term insurance until I started learning more and more about, the benefits of actually having whole life insurance. And he kind of talks about it in here a little bit. So, like the cash surrender value, that essentially gives you. So I think some people get mixed up on the idea of you can have certain whole life policies where that cash value you can like invest it, and so it's the same as like a 401k where they have like the very low risk stuff. So you're not making money there. Where you actually make money is access to capital because you can borrow against it to turn around and make money outside of it, right? But at that point, as he talks about earlier in the book, you got to be confident about your returns to pay that money back. But I mean, you match all those up, they all benefit. Also, within like the whole life realm, there's actually two portions to the premium. So, like when you pay the premium, there's a savings portion and there's an actual premium portion. What he talks about in there, which I believe is right, there's a portion of that that can be deducted in some cases, and he talks about it in the book. But to your point, unless you have some kind of whole life insurance policy, you're not getting any benefit from term until you actually see, that like someone else may see the benefit from that. Like your heirs may see that tax benefit, but you wouldn't.
You say something, Natalie, also?
Well, I was just thinking the story that he shared about how his parents had all those units, and then the mom needed or got a report that somebody fell on steps, and so she called her insurance agent, and in the end, they never had to do a payout. So I think like what Laura was saying, where it was almost the benefits of a good person to fight on your team that you're close to. Same thing like having a good tax person that either they make you pay all the money and don't do a double check, or they really help you to save money and cut costs and really there for you. So I think there might be good and bad insurance agents.
Well, there's definitely good and bad in insurance agents. And I always a little something always sticks in my head when it comes to insurance companies, or again whenever you're kind of doing along now that we were talking about as far as a liability insurance policy or premium, something like that, because I assume those premiums are definitely tax benefits in that sense. You get to write them off as an expense for your normal insurance needs. But the insurance policies are bananas. I mean, they're just like very, very legalese. They're very, very thick, hard reading. Attorney, I hate reading them. Like, it's like, what the heck is it? It's just like going round and round and round and round and round, and we go. It's like, what do I actually have coverage or not? Whenever we're shopping for insurance, the biggest thing is write what you want. I want coverage for A, I want coverage for B, I want coverage for C, and send that to the insurance agent. Say, listen, this is what I'm expecting. They say, great, here's your policy. And then all of a sudden that policy does not cover because they didn't read the policy either, right? So they just, oh yeah, it's covered, right? Meanwhile, but now we have a written statement saying, this is what I want. And the insurance agent that's representing the company has agreed, saying, here's the policy that'll cover that. Without actually pointing it, and even though it's wrong, you can then you can potentially go after that insurance company for coverage because the insurance agent went on and said, this is what I want. And they replied, said, then this is what you want. Right. So they're kind of giving you the policy based on your layman terms as far as what you want coverage for. So definitely, kind of reduce it to a layman's term and have your insurance agent verify that that is what you're getting coverage for. And don't ask, who cares about whether it's in there or not? Just, as long as they say it is, even if it's not, you can have a legal claim against them for coverage because they represented that they was going to be covered on that as an agent.
Wow.
So if you always keep that in mind when you're dealing with insurance companies. As a little food for thought.
Yeah, definitely learning to
That's
document.
right, TikTok on that. Yeah, the whole life policy. Yeah, I mean, Laura, I agree with you. I mean, I've always heard that whole life is like the end. You have nothing. You have money, and you've exhausted every other bucket. Then you do whole life insurance because it's very expensive in comparison to like a term policy for $1 million may cost like $50, and then you go to a whole life, all of a sudden it's like $500 a month, right? So it is exponentially a lot more. And I always think, well, I'd rather invest my money in other places than stick it into a policy that helps me when I'm dead, right? But I never really looked at it in the sense of you're making all these premium payments. You've now built up enough cash value. Take that loan against it to use it as a down payment for the real estate. Use the real estate loan to cover most of the real estate, but use the cash value as a loan against it, and then take your depreciation, which covers the repayment. And then pays everything back that way through the advantages of using it for a real estate type investment, and let the government pay you back the same way you buy a car on that.
I did think about that because that's how we bought our house.
With life
That's
insurance?
that's where our down payment for the house we live in came, was an insurance policy. It was an insurance policy my dad had taken out on me years ago.
Oh no,
and
we cashed that in though, in its entirety.
We cashed it in. It was different. We didn't borrow the money, we cashed it in. Because it, like, looking at the numbers, it didn't make sense to just let it keep growing and maturing because it was never going to be worth anything. So we took the $40,000, whatever it was, and that's where our money came from. So we didn't borrow, but we did close out a policy to buy real estate. We had used the strategy.
And we may have done that wrong, where it might have been better to borrow the money against it, keep that policy open, and start putting money into that instead of my owner K. Like, at least we can put something into that will give a positive benefit down the road, where the owner K is like, yeah, I guess maybe when I'm dead, I'll need something for my heirs, but it doesn't really benefit me at all. Because I'm never going to want to take that money. I'm going to pay too high of taxes at this point, because again, after this book and everything else, the goal is not to retire a broker than I am now. It's going to be better. So I'm never going to pay less taxes. So I'm just thought anyway.
Definitely.
Then we went through the synopsis of the entire book. The bonus chapter about buying the Ferrari and letting the government pay for it all. Now, obviously, the government is not paying for the Ferrari, but by using these tax advantages and things like that, you're using all the benefits you're getting to cover the cost of that Ferrari for personal use. I guess it's for business use. I mean, yeah, you got to get around somehow, right?
Yeah, that last piece of the book got me inspired to get back on realtor.com. And Laura, I noticed that the house I found is now pending. So thanks for cutting me out.
Which one?
The lake home I found for us, the threeplex for LLC.
Oh. Somebody bought it, huh? I'm not surprised.
I think it's still
not us. So, but yeah.
But yeah, I want to go buy that rental home.
David, did we ever tell you that story? I don't think I told you that story. Natalie called me. She's like, "Hey, we've got she showed me a listing. It was a triplex up by Lake Lanier."
Oh yeah, the $1 million one.
Yeah, and so anyway, I don't remember what the price was, but we decided the name of our LLC was LLC LLC. Did I tell you all that?
That way, David didn't have to change his last name.
Right.
We missed it.
It might still be there. I didn't know. Definitely looking for something though. The other thing too is I have with all my corporate jobs, I've had 401ks, and now this book definitely inspired me that I need to start putting that money somewhere else and do more with it. Because right now, and even as a kid, I always felt that too. When I first started my first one at 18, I'm like, oh, you know, whatever, that money's whatever. I'll hopefully be rich. So it doesn't matter what's going in there, what's happening to it. And now I'm just realizing, wow, that could be a payment for something much bigger, better, and full of potential.
Yeah, well, Craig and I have accounts, same thing. We're like, where is this gonna go? So we're moving money over to interview, or to, I think we're gonna hire this company.
You are this author?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's more
Yeah.
work.
I think we're definitely leaning towards it.
Selling all.
So my biggest takeaway was I like real estate. I think that's the easiest for me personally to take my investments on. I don't know enough about some of the other possibilities, oil and gases and things along that nature. Now, I think we obviously have a farm, so I think I want to figure out how to take advantage of that farm stuff. We have an LLC out there. We probably need to create a new one and kind of roll. Right now, we own the farm portion, if you will, in our trust. You know, we may want to. I don't know exactly whether it's creating an LLC and then lease the farm space from our trust to our LLC, and then use the LLC to run that farm as a leaseor of the property. I think that this way we don't have to worry about title changes. So I think title changes in Louisiana was kind of wonky. In my experience, it's definitely not as simple as Georgia was. And I'd rather not have to mess with the title out there. But I still think that there's a lot of potential for that piece. So for me, I am sold. I am drinking the Kool-Aid on real estate investments. That's where I think Laura and I are definitely, all the money that we're going to put into, we were going to put into my owner K. I'm like, no, let's go. I got 50K. Where's it going now? And so we are in that real estate. So that's what my biggest takeaway is let's invest in real estate and let's figure out as the bonus is the farm, because we have one at this particular
And
point.
renewable energy, because we can use solar power on the farm.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was another great point on that, and kind of pulling that into it. Because that is something that is definitely good. Natalie, what's your Kool-Aid?
I think definitely I did really like that last, it wasn't a chapter, but if it was the last piece of the book. And I think that might be my motivation, is whenever I'm thinking, I'm content with this corporate job, I need to reread that, because it is so inspiring that you could, just one purchase of a rental property, that now you can afford basically whatever you want and get what you want, and the government's here to help you. And it's crazy to read about people and taxes and how different people feel different ways about taxes. And so right now it's figuring out how can we make taxes our friend. And definitely that 401k, I need to make that money work for me better than what it's doing right now for me.
Gotcha. Very good. Okay. Laura?
My takeaway is we're buying real estate. The end. And really and truly, my takeaway is we need to figure out who's going to start managing all this for us, because I think that's where it all starts. And so I am just excited that we're moving forward now that Thomas has had his baby. He's supposed to circle back around to us. So we'll be moving our money from Matt over to Thomas, which I'm super excited about. It's not much, but we'll be moving that over. And then, like you said, not investing any more there. The only thing that's going back in the stock market or mutual funds or anything like that is what we get from EXP. And I'll tell you, it takes everything inside of me sometimes to not liquidate that. Like, I'm like,
And I got to circle back to you, Laura, on that. David, any final or any
Kool-Aid.
Yeah, that you got.
So I guess this book is really kind of giving me a different appreciation for having tax strategies kind of built into your wealth strategy. For instance, now I'm just really excited to kind of try out, really like the idea of, funding a portion of whatever your investment is with debt, and then the other portion of it with your tax incentives.
Yeah, I
So
don't really, yeah. That's another good piece. I mean, the utilization of debt, I mean, they are very much, they love debt in this book or in these authors. You know, because the investment pays for the debt load and
mhm,
tax incentives pays for the cash deposits, if you will, or earnest money, or however you want to look at it. You know, the down payment piece, you get that back through your tax incentives, and
mhm.
then everything else is serviced by the debt service, and so it costs you nothing. Yeah, I mean, you know, OPM all day long.
Right.
Laura, can you take your stock holdings and instead of, does it go into Laura Beth Holmes? Does it go into, does it go you as an individual? And can you create an investment company? So the shares are held by your investment companies. So then you're trading and doing stuff with a stock trading company, which then you write detail in one of the investing chapter, he talks about getting benefits for investing, right, in the equity market and stuff like that. But I think that's, you got to have a company to do so, not just buying stock. Doesn't help you, but buying stock through an investment company that you own is where the advantage. I think that my biggest thing is all your investments and everything you should be doing should all be done through businesses.
I don't know the answer to that. Hold on, and I will tell you. I don't know what happens when I click off our Zoom. I don't know if it keeps recording y'all or if it starts recording something else. I assume it's y'all.
8 minutes. Yeah, 8 minutes until we lose the connection, Laura. So you better.
It should take me 30 seconds. Hold on.
But I mean, that's obviously it's a side question. That's someone on our personal side of things. But yeah, I think that's the impression that I got. Is that do you all concur that never invest on a personal level? I mean, even it's personal companies, but everything should go through businesses. Yeah, I mean, do you guys agree with that?
Oh yeah, like we bought a car earlier this year and we financed it. I'm like, crap, we should have done that in an LLC. Everything, all of our assets and liabilities, like we hired someone to do something for us personally. And I'm like, crap, had that gone south, we could have lost everything. And had we been protected under an LLC and it had all of our assets under that, we would have been okay, I think. So, but I mean, luckily nothing happened, but just that fear. And I think that was, we've read so many books this year, but definitely we keep on kind of hearing that message over and over again to protect your stuff.
Something else, that I gathered from here, as far as some of the tax questions and the jurisdictional shopping that people do at times. And then I'm learning more and more about it. But I got a client that is he's an airline pilot, and I guess he's also involved in doing some airline piloting, blah, 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 blah. And I think he was giving me a story about, somebody, or it was, I can't remember, it was him or somebody that he knew who's bought a plane, and he didn't buy the plane. He bought an LLC that happens to own the plane. The LLC was a Wyoming LLC for asset protection and a lot of things along that nature. And that's how he was, buying planes. The same thing. But why are we not buying cars that way? Creating a Wyoming LLC, then buying the car so we can pay, potentially avoiding sales tax, a 6% sales tax when you buy a car. Let's get rid of that by buying it under as a Wyoming LLC. You still got to do obviously your personal guarantors, you're signing on the dotted line on the note. But from an ownership standpoint, everything else, it is now owned by a Wyoming or South Dakota LLC. That's going to keep, getting a car accident with that. It's protected. It's going to stop that liability wise, and potentially also getting some tax advantages, through buying it through an LLC, and then also picking the proper jurisdiction to set that LLC up to avoid that as well. No, it's interesting.
Exactly.
It's owned by me.
Well, what, can that be changed?
Ask Natalie. She's in the same brokerage.
I haven't invested any yet.
I don't know the answer to that. I would assume probably, but I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
Because they allow us to take our paychecks, our commission checks, either as a human or as an entity. So I would assume that we could probably set our stock accounts up the same.
Okay.
I did do that. I am an entity, so the checks don't come to me.
Okay.
All right, David, what have you decided what book, what chapters?
Yeah, so killing sacred cows. And it's not broken up into chapters, it's broken up into myths. So read the introduction and the myth one, which is, I believe, just under 2 hours. If you read it with the opening credits, it's a little over 2 hours. So if you want to read the opening credits, go for it. I don't think you have to.
We can listen on ×2 and do it in less.
Yeah.
It's 1 hour.
Usually do like 1.5.
1.5 is fast.
It's all based upon the reader.
But I do like a 1.2 or 1.3. Anyway.
Awesome.
I can't listen too fast.
I'm interested to see you guys' thoughts on killing sacred cows. So,
Okay.
Now just be careful.
I'm excited.
what's that?
So be
I said
careful.
I'm excited.
Laura's excited. And I said, be careful Googling that.
Oh yeah, don't. Did you Google it?
I did, but the book came up, so it's okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, till next time.
Have a great day, guys.